There is an ancient story known as the parable of talents. According to the story, one day the master of the household gathered his 3 servants together and announced that he would soon be going away on a long journey. Before leaving, he gave each of his servants a certain number of talents. In those days, a talent was worth several years' wages to the average laborer. So each talent represented a substantial sum of money. To one servant he gave 5 talents, to another he gave 2, and to the third he gave 1. He cautioned the servants to look after these talents in his absence and then left. While the master was gone, the servant with the 5 talents took them to the marketplace and traded them until he had converted 5 to 10. The second servant did the same, trading his 2 into 4. However, the third servant, being a very cautious man, took 1 talent that he had and he buried it in the ground for safekeeping. After a time, the master returned and gathered his 3 servants together to inquire about what they had done with the talents he had given them. The first servant explained how he had wisely traded the 5 talents he had been given and presented his master with the original 5, then the 5 he had earned. The master said to the servant, "Well done." The second servant came forward and said that he had also traded wisely and presented his master with the original 2 talents he had been given plus 2 more. Again, the master said, "Well done." Finally, the third servant stepped forward and told his story. "Fearing that I might lose your money, I carefully buried it in the ground." He then proudly presented the master with the 1 talent he had been given to look after. The master took one look at the single, unused talent and said, "Take the 1 talent from him and give it to the one who now has 10. Many people are not very happy with the way this story ends. After all, it does not seem fair to take the little that the third servant had and give it to the servant who had 10. But remember, life is not designed to give rewards in proportion to our level of need. It gives them in proportion to our level of deserve. Life is not designed to give rewards in proportion to our level of need. It gives them in proportion to our level of deserve. The moral of this story is that whatever life has handed to us, whether it is 1 talent or 100, it is our responsibility to do something with what we have been given. That is how we change pennies into fortunes and obstacles into opportunity, by taking all that we have and all that we are and putting it to work. Sooner or later, we must convert knowledge and good feelings into activity. And as the parable also clearly demonstrates, the more we start with, the more we will receive for all of our disciplined work. That is why starting with a sound personal philosophy and the right attitude is so important. The more we know and the better we feel about ourselves and our opportunities, the greater our chance for success will be. But a growing awareness and a positive attitude are not enough in and of themselves. What we know and how we feel merely determine our potential for achievement. Whether we actually achieve our goals is ultimately determined by our activity. We can have a well-balanced philosophy, great depth of character, and a good attitude about life. But unless we put these valuable assets to work, we may find ourselves making more excuses than progress. What we know and how we feel are important factors that affect the quality of our lives. But remember, they are merely the foundation upon which to build a better future. Completing the rest of the picture requires action. Why we sometimes get stuck on the ground floor. If we have a sincere desire for progress, then we are compelled to find every possible means to implement all that we know and feel. We must find ways to demonstrate on the outside all of the value that we possess on the inside. Otherwise, our values will remain unappreciated and our talents unrewarded. Why some people fail and others succeed can be baffling. Sometimes it may even be unfair. It may seem unfair. We all know people who have a good education, the right attitude, and sincere desire to make something of themselves. They are good parents, honest employees, and loyal friends. Yet despite their knowledge, feelings, and desires, they continue to lead lives of quiet desperation. They should have so much more than they do, but they seem to receive so little. Then there are those who always seem to receive so much and yet merit so little. They have no education, they have a poor attitude about themselves and other people, and are often dishonest and unethical. The only thing they seem to share in common with those who should do well but do so poorly is a sincere desire to get ahead. Despite their lack of virtues, knowledge, and appreciation, these people often seem to come out on top. Why is it that some good people seem to have so little, while the dishonest seem to have so much? Why is it that the drug dealers and the mob members and the criminal element in our society are driving Rolls Royce, while many are struggling to make the payments on their inexpensive compacts, their Hondas, their Toyotas, their Hyundais? If our desire to succeed is as strong as theirs, and if we have the added virtues of philosophical refinement and emotional sophistication, why are we not all doing better than they are? The answer might well be that we do not work at achieving our goals, and they do. Evil always rushes in to fill the void created by the absence of good. The only thing that is necessary for the triumph of evil is for good people to do nothing.